which I got on my phone here. Yeah, it's all right. Don't think I'll have to plug that in.
Jeffro is barking his head off.
Is he? I wonder what he's barking at.
I don't know.
All right, folks. Well, good evening and welcome to Prophecy Montana Podcast. It is Wednesday, and we are right at 7 o'clock Mountain Time. If you want to catch us live, watching us in the future. And we're going to be talking about the book of Micah tonight. We're going to at least try to. I have to admit, I mean, reading through it, it's a little heavy. It's kind of concerning, and it's talking about a lot of different things that I don't know the history about, so it's kind of hard to relate it. But we're going to get through the parts that I do know, and we're going to kind of skip along, and maybe you guys can help me out, of course. Of course, you guys will help me out, along with some of the stuff that I do not know. So, but we're going to kind of breeze through it. Let's bow our heads and begin with a word of prayer. By the way, let me introduce my wife first before we do that. There she is. And so anyways, let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, Lord, we just thank you so much for the opportunity to open your word with others and study it and to learn from you these valuable things that we can glean from your word that will see us through in these last days. Father, we just pray that your Spirit will be with us along the way, and that that you'll also forgive us of our sins, and so that we can receive your Spirit, so we can be pure of heart, Lord. In your name we pray these things, amen. All right, folks. All right, so we're going to get started on this. Let me see. Well, I think we ended off in Micah 4 last time, and the first 4 chapters were fairly easy for me to kind of follow along, honestly. These last chapters are going to, what is there, like 3 or 4 chapters? Yeah, so goes up to chapter 7 here. So these last couple of chapters were a little tougher on me. Hey, Reformation, good evening. Nice to have you here joining us. And good old faithful Reformation, I'll tell you. So, all right, let's get started. So, now gather thyself in troops, O daughter of troops. And I'll admit, this beginning of verse 5, everybody should know this one, right? And I recognized it right off when I was starting to read it. He hath laid siege against us. They shall smite the judge of Israel with a rod upon the cheek. Now, immediately I'm thinking of Jesus when I read that. I mean, doesn't that sound like that?
Yeah.
The judge of Israel, right? And they shall smite him upon the cheek. But thou, Bethlehem Ephratah, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall come forth unto me, that is to be a ruler in Israel, whose goings forth have been of old from everlasting. And of that, of course, is in fact Jesus. Hey, Thomas, how you doing? My clicker's not working here. Oh, there it goes. And good evening. Nice to have you join us here on this Bible study. We're in Micah 5, and we just got through reading verse 2 here. So yeah, this was the prophetic messages of Micah about the coming Messiah, and his. Now, had they studied these minor prophets a little closer, the people in Israel, they might have understood more of what Jesus's mission actually was. But when you read the minor prophets, it's a little confusing too, and I could see how it would be confusing because there's end day prophecies in these minor prophets, and then there's prophecies that were meant to foretell Jesus's first coming, right? The first coming and the second coming are both contained in the minor prophets, and you'll read a verse where he's coming with power and great authority, and then you'll read one that he's coming like a lamb, and so it takes some interpretation, if you will, and that's where being a student of the Bible really helps, because a quick reading of it doesn't really give you what's necessary to understand. I mean, we have to study, we have to search the scriptures, it says, daily, and we have to ask God to give us wisdom. And I've really noticed that in my life. If I don't ask God for wisdom in the scriptures, it really is hard to get and extract that which is important from them. Okay, verse 3. Therefore will he give them up until the time that she which travaileth hath brought forth. Then the remnant of his brethren shall return unto the children of Israel. And he shall stand and feed in the strength of the Lord, in the majesty of the name of the Lord his God, and they shall abide, for now shall he be great unto the ends of the earth. And this man shall be the peace when the Assyrians shall come into our land, and when he shall tread in our palaces. Then shall we arise against him 7 shepherds and 8 principal men. And this is where I start getting bogged down in chapter 5 here, and it doesn't get any better from there on as far as my understanding goes of it. I mean, I'm picking up a few things. And they shall waste the land of the Assyrian with the sword, and the land of the Nimrod, the entrances thereof. Thus shall he deliver us from the Assyrian when he cometh into our land, and when he treadeth within our borders. You know, the disciples in ancient Israel must have read these and must have thought that Jesus was going to deliver them from their enemies, right? I mean, that's kind of what this sounds like. Like the Messiah is literally going to deliver them. Well, the Messiah will deliver us from our enemies. Make no mistake about it, but it's the reckoning of who these enemies are, really. And let me see here. I want to catch reformations. This clicker just decides when it wants to work. All right, so the priests and the Pharisees had to review all of these writings when Herod commanded them to go after the wise men when they came to Jerusalem. All right, Micah 5:6 calls the land of Nimrod Assyria, not Babylon. Okay, well, that makes sense. You know, the Assyrians. And it was also what were the Babylonians also called? It wasn't the Assyrians. It was it'll come to me in a second. You probably know Reformation. Genesis 10:8-12 gives the territory of Nimrod. If his land was Assyria, then the Tower of Babel or Shinar, was not in Babylon, but further north. Okay. All right. Well, that's an interesting history lesson. Now, Babylon, then why was Babylon built at its current location? That would be my question. There's still a region in ancient Assyria, now Turkey, called Shinar. It's a large valley in central Turkey where there is a mountain at the edge called Mount Nimrud. Quotations, Nimrod. Okay, Chaldeans. Thank you, Reformation. Yes, the Chaldeans. So do you think the Assyrians kind of became Chaldeans at some point? I mean, that would be my question to you, Reformation, because all of that genealogy, I know it's there in the Bible, just haven't really committed that much. Hey, Heaven Soon, how's it going? Nice to have you here with us. And so let me see. And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles. This is kind of cool. This is in verse 8. And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles in the midst of many people, as a lion among the beasts of the forest, as a young lion amongst the flocks of sheep. Okay. Who, if he go through, both treadeth down and teareth in pieces, and none can deliver. Now, that's interesting because that's interesting to me because it almost talks about to me, it almost seems like when Paul was given the message to take to the Gentiles, right? Mm-hmm. And it's talking about a lion amongst lambs here. And, you know, the tribe of the Lion of Judah, or the Lion of the tribe of Judah, was represented by a lion, was it not? Am I mistaken here? And so that could mean that, couldn't it? All right, so here's our answer. The Chaldeans eventually became associated with the Babylonians, but they started out as a separate nation north of Babylon. Interesting. Isaiah 23:13, 23:13. Behold, the land of the Chaldeans. This people was not the Assyrians until the Assyrians founded it. For them that dwell in the wilderness, they set up the towers thereof, they raised up the palaces. Okay. That's interesting. So there was sounds like several races of people that eventually became the Babylonian Empire, that kind of assimilated into the Babylonian nation. Because Babylon was a city, and I guess if you lived in the Babylon city, it was probably a city that housed a lot of different people. Well, of course, obviously it held the Hebrews, right? And so the Hebrews probably at some point, you know, after several generations, probably identified themselves as Babylonians as well. Mm-hmm. I'm sure, you know, and lived and died as such. rather than keeping their identity as Jews. Maybe I'm totally wrong about that, but I know that when Moses left Egypt, there were Egyptians that identified with the Jew. Well, they would eventually identify as Jews, right? I mean, they had Egyptian blood with them that they brought along, and they would integrate into, the Jewish culture, and so they became that. So Kevin has joined us. Hey, Kevin, how you doing? The Assyrians was Nimrod. So Nimrod was the father of the Assyrian nation, basically, then, and Nimrod was known as a great king. Now, wasn't Nimrod the giant? Am I getting that right? Nimrod was the one that depicted the holding of the lions, I believe.
So,
okay,
yeah.
so he was also a giant. And so those were the mighty men of ancient times that we see the traces of even today, even though they try to hide that. Babylon was founded on the principles of Nimrod, Shinar, Babel, but was not to be the location of the tower from Genesis 11. Okay. Yeah, well, I always wondered if, like, the ruins of that tower was Nimrod was Gilgamesh. Okay, so was that Gilgamesh that we're looking at the statue? Was that what they called him? So Nimrod, Gilgamesh, synonymous. I know there was, like, and I learned this in the book, and it's been a long time since I read it, but in the book Ages and Chaos by Velikovsky, he talks about ghost doubles in there. And it's basically like you would say, like, John in English and Juan in Spanish, right? Mm-hmm. And so that was all it was. It was just different languages and so Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego is a good example of that, because it was Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. And then there was Daniel, name was also Belteshazzar. So they had different names according to the different languages. So it's not that unusual, even under today. Heaven Soon says, Amos 3:12, the shepherd takes a lamb out of the lion's mouth, a piece of the ear or two legs. Takes from the lion's mouth, a piece of an ear and two legs. I wonder what that means. What's your definition of that one? Reformation says, some think Nimrod was a title meaning rebel, and his actual name was Amraphel. Man, where do you... This is... You're like a, what we need to do is we need to get Reformation a podcast, really, honestly. That's, Reformation is more adept with all of this historical stuff. That's really fun.
True.
Yeah. So.
Smart.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
A reader.
This stuff, I mean.
You have to dig in there.
Yeah,
You have to want to know the questions to certain things, and then to hang on to this stuff.
Yeah, and it says here, Amraphel was one of the kings of Shinar who attacked Sodom and Gomorrah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of historical things that I guess I'm just not interested enough in, because you have to torture. I have to torture my way through reading some of this stuff, but other stuff is a real joy to learn. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Some historical things that you're kind of into.
I have my mouth in awe sometimes when some of this, the history on some of these sermons, and then they break it down.
Yeah.
Of who's who, where did they came from, and what they're doing at that moment, and what they were trying to do. And I always love those. I always stop and pay attention to those, because they're not just the simple stories, or I should say off the wall stories, because most of the Bible stories are off the wall. Well,
they're not your normal reading material for sure. No. They sound fairy tale-ish in some aspects. I mean, but we know they're true. Yeah, I mean, Jonah and the well, and the Red Sea parting, and all of these things. I mean, there's a lot of people that do consider them as to be fairy tales. I consider them to be the Word of God and factual and true in every way. And there's plenty of proof to back that up and support it. And so Tim has joined us. Hey, Tim.
Hi, Tim.
Good evening. And nice to have you here. We're talking about, we're in Micah 5, and we're on verse 8 here. Actually, verse 9 by now. So let's continue to read here. Well, let's read verse 8 again, because I really didn't come up with like a conclusion on that. So, and the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles in the midst of many people as a lion amongst the beasts of the forest. Now, that's literally what it's saying, right? I mean, the remnant of Jacob, so the line of the tribe of Judah, which is represented by the lion amongst the beasts of the forest, as a young lion amongst the flocks of sheep, who, if he go through, both treadeth down and teareth in pieces, and none can deliver. So maybe a couple things there. I mean, that almost sounds like judgment at the same time, but it might also be, might be deliverance, because when we're broken on that rock, that's a symbol for deliverance. But when the rock falls on us and crushes us, then that's then that's judgment, right? Heaven Soon says that lamb was in reference to that earlier verse in Micah. Amos took it a bit further. Oh, right, so the tiny bit of lamb rescued indicates the small remnant of Israel that will remain once it is rescued back out from where it was scattered amongst the nations. Okay, so this, of course, was an ancient prophecy that probably doesn't apply to us currently. I know there's some of that mixed in. It's hard to kind of get it out unless you have a really good background like some of you guys do. Thine hand shall be lifted up upon thine adversaries, and all thine enemies shall be cut off. And this shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord, that I will cut off my horses out of the midst of thee, and I will destroy thy chariots. Now it kind of goes back to the judgment on Israel, right? And I will cut off the cities of thy land, and throw down all thy strongholds. And I will cut off witchcrafts out of thine hand, and thou shalt have no more soothsayers. This also sounds like it could be like a judgment of the final end of sin, too.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, it could apply to that, right?
Yeah.
Because this is when all of that ends, all of that nonsense. Because right there, when we were, and let's go back to chapter 4 just for a minute here, because it says, but in the last days. Now, right there, that tells me that's a very specific sentence right there, right? And it's literally saying, in the last days, when the last days come to pass, that the mountain of the house of the Lord shall be established in the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow into it. Now, that's telling me, I mean, some people might read that and say that's proof that Israel's going to be reinstated, right? But that's not really what it's saying. I mean, it is saying Israel will be reinstated, but not the Israel that we know on this earth. Right. But the true and faithful Israel that have followed God all of these years.
I mean, I hate to say it, but I'm going to be blunt and quick. But Israel has not been very faithful to
well, the more I learn about present day Israel, Lisa, the more I'm disgusted as to how people can even consider them the true people of God, because the Talmud, and I've just been dabbling a little bit here and there and not doing much, but, the Talmud basically says that Jesus was a heretic and that he will burn in boiling excrement.
Ew.
Yeah, and that's how they talk about Jesus.
I was thinking about this, and the Quran, some of these other religions. Remember my friend? She was really into that. She was telling me something about this religion she was in, and they actually, like Hagar's son. Is it Hagar's son? There was Sarai or Sarah.
Yeah, Hagar's son.
Yeah, that's their true prince. Even though he's dead and gone. Uh-huh. They feel like he's going to be their redemption.
Oh.
And I just think, what?
Well, the father of the
chosen.
Yeah.
He's going to come. And and I was thinking.
Well, that was Islam. Yeah, he's the father of.
Very strange thinking.
And
they denied Jesus.
Well, that's it, Lisa.
They didn't think he ever came down in the first place.
No.
And they're definitely not thinking of him coming down again to save them.
Not Jesus. They've already made themselves another Messiah. I mean, yeah. I heard an imam calling Trump their Messiah.
Oh, I know. Strange.
I mean, it's really crazy. But But this plays out like some have theorized that Trump will sit in the temple. Trump's the
Yeah, yeah.
Antichrist, right? And he's going to sit in the temple that is built in Israel, saying that he's God, right? And some have played this scenario. I think it's a ridiculous scenario because it doesn't fit what historically how the forefathers believed things, and uh, and I'm a real proponent of going along with the historical beliefs of all of our reformers.
Uh-huh.
David's joined us,
Hello.
or Dan Vincent. Sorry, Dan Vincent has joined us. Hi, Dan. How you doing?
Hi.
Let me see. But in Jesus' day, you must remember that the priests and leaders were saying the same thing about Jesus as they are now, yet the Israelites were still called his people. Well, all right. So, yes, but those weren't his people, right? And you would agree with me, right? There was a remnant, but there was more than a remnant because thousands were baptized into the church, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these people had to be baptized into a new faith, if you will, the faith that the same faith that the disciples were preaching, the faith of Jesus Christ, that they had lost and forgotten. And it was only 70 years later at the stoning of Stephen, which is when the timeline of the 70 weeks ended. You guys know the prophecy, the 490-day prophecy, 490 years, that the end of sin would be made, or they had 490 years to reconcile back to Christ. It said that he would come as a fuller's soap, right, to cleanse Israel, but they would not. He says, I would that I could take you under my wings, but you would not. When he was crying over Jerusalem, right there in the beginning chapters there of Desire of Ages, you guys can read that. I mean, it's a beautiful representation of how Jesus longed to save Israel as a nation, but they wouldn't. And so, then the gospel went to the Gentiles. That's when Paul took over. That was 3.5 years after the ministry of Christ. And Paul would take over, and Paul would take the gospel to the Gentiles. The church was born. That not to say that the Jews were lost, but as a nation, a name, if you will, they no longer had the oracles of truth, and they don't to this day. And in fact, there in the Bible it tells us that the lie that was told after the resurrection of Christ, that his disciples had came and stole the body, which was a ridiculous lie because it was guarded by a legion of Roman soldiers.
Yeah.
I mean, how could 12 fishermen
who all told him what happened
snake it out from underneath a legion of Roman soldiers trained to kill without a single drop of blood being shed? It was a ridiculous story, but people still believe it. And they're telling that story to this day.
Well, and then I think Reformation's right. I think there was some people that came out of the Jewish, some did come out, but everyone separated themselves because what they did is
it was a polarizing moment.
They pronounced a curse upon the Jewish people pronounced a curse on themselves. And we saw that in World War II with Hitler. And that was atrocity. I don't think that was just, but what happened? It happened. I mean, this polar effect happened. This curse, as you say, happened. And no, we're not supposed to believe in this, but they said for future generations and generations and generations, they heaped it upon themselves. And they should have never had that disbelief in their heart. I think it's like nowadays where there's disbelief and disaccord with the views and ideas of Jesus. They try to make it so hard to believe in God that I've gone too far, or I've done too much to have God redeem me, or I got to jump through these hoops and do this and that. And whatever else, just to become a Christian.
Mm.
And it's really simple. It was really just get on the ark. It's just really just,
Keep the commandments.
keep the commandments. And everything else will fall in line. I mean, we talk about our diet all the time and music and movies and all this other stuff, but that'll fall off you, go away once you have a real
Join yourself to
strong
Jesus. Yeah.
heart with God, because then he's living in you. This is a living Bible, and he starts living within you.
And I like what Reformation has said here.
Mm-hmm.
Reformation said the curse was pronounced on those who reject Christ, not any one group in particular.
Yeah.
And that's true. That's how God actually works, right?
Yeah.
And so there was another comment here. By heaven, soon in New York this week, the Muslim community was celebrating and saying that they are not going to let up until every home in the U.S. is Islam. Will the Sunday enforced be counter to spread of Islam? Yeah, I believe it will be. That's spot on. That's exactly what I see coming. Even in the last days, lines will be drawn. Each person will be forced to take a side. There will not be a middle ground. Absolutely, that's the test, right?
There's no lukewarm.
There's no lukewarm. You have to be hot or cold, and we're told that over and over. Spirit of prophecy in the Bible,
Exactly.
and so that's a rehearsed statement that we need to really kind of internalize and make ourselves ready to prepare ourselves to actually meet, because those days are coming fast.
The Bible, to prepare yourself. Don't be lukewarm and all these. I haven't looked them up, but I'm sure there's plenty.
Yeah.
That tell you to get ready.
Well, and what's this Islamic invasion doing to America? It's
forcing people.
It's forcing people
forceful.
to take sides, right? It's polarizing. It's one of those polarizing things, like during Christ's day. Christ's message is very polarizing. The problem is they're polarizing against a false message. It's not a message of love. It's a message of hate, and it's a message of war. And
if the women aren't a virgin, isn't that the religion that says you're less than, that they could kill you, or if you're disabled? Is that Islam?
Yeah.
I might need to brush up on that.
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
because there was raping and all this stuff happening, because they say that people that aren't pure and keep covered, they get what they get.
Well, yeah, it's Sharia law.
But wasn't there something just not too long ago of a raping?
Yeah, they have no problem raping the infidels.
Yeah,
that's okay.
That'd be horrible.
Well, it's more of this rage bait. It's really, I mean, whoever takes the rage bait falls into this, and it's really easy to do. I mean, it's easy to get outraged over these atrocities. I mean, I think people like that who rape little girls should be executed.
Exactly.
But you can't execute a religion and call yourself
a Christian,
a country of the freedom of religion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the country is crying out to ban Islam, and what they're really doing in that statement, and this is being fueled by satanic agencies, what they're actually doing by saying that is they're banning religious freedom, period. Because once they ban one, who's to stop them from banning another and another and another and another?
Weren't they shipped over here?
But see what they're saying. Yeah, of course. This is all planned.
Over here. This is planned.
Yeah. This is planned. They knew what these people were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
They knew it. And they knew what the response to this was going to be. They knew
the outcome.
What the outcry was going to be. It was a very simple formula to work out.
So, because me and Carrie, we look at totally different stuff. And when we're over here, we're coming on these same planes the same way. Because I have my media feed and I have my sources and stuff. And so when we come to the same conclusion, it's like aha,
Well, a lot of people have come to, I mean, look, it's a simple equation. It's not a hard one to figure out.
I know, but I'm not a news person, and I see.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's, and so listen, the outcome is certain. they're trying to ban a religion. Now, I'm not trying to support Islam. I don't support any of the violence that they're perpetuating. I don't support any of that stuff. I mean, that is against the law anyways. There's already laws that prohibit rape. There's already laws that prohibit murder.
And
There's already laws that prohibit religions.
They should keep our laws and our statutes.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They're over here.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They want to come into the States.
They don't need to ban the religion.
They have to obey the laws.
See, they don't need to ban the religion to stop what's taking place. They just need to enforce the laws that are already in place. Yeah. All that stuff's already illegal. You can't allow people to kill each other. You can't allow them to rape each other.
Because they're in a different religion.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, if the religion supports it, then, and if you follow that religion to its extreme and you you participate in these crimes, then you're guilty of the crime and you need to be sentenced accordingly.
Because that means anybody can become an Islam and then be like a weirdo sex offender or something, and he could become Islamic, and then he could start going around doing that, and then he could get away with it because he's Islamic.
Yeah, and it's his freedom of religion.
And it's okay because it's his religion.
He's practicing his religion. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like what's going on right now with these LGBTQ. I mean, that's their freedom of expression, man. That's like the First Amendment, but they're right on the fringes of what's allowable in society, and that creates the outrage, and then people have to compromise. They think they have to compromise the First Amendment to get this activity to cease, but in doing, I mean, this is clever. I mean, this is a brilliant play on the devil, and it's working out perfectly. The First Amendment will be abolished. It's just like the school shootings, guys. So I already said it. YouTube hates those certain words.
Oh,
but these mass, you guys know the word, they use these to try and abolish the Second Amendment, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I think they have like sleeper cells out there, I honestly do, that work under the CIA. I mean, this is all like, you guys have probably studied it under Operation Bluebird and under, what's that other one? There was another, Rolling Stones participated in it, when they took the LSD and they were altering people's minds.
And so did that Helter Skelter guy.
Yeah,
what was his name?
yeah, Manson.
That's right. He
participated in it as well. It was very well known. It's on the tip of my tongue. I'm going to say it here in a second. It was a very well known program that they perpetuated for mind control, and we're seeing this take place. And I think what they do is they, and it happens at certain times and. Strategic political events. These events always take place during political, when they're trying to make points. So anyways, we got off course here a little bit. There was no middle ground when the flood came. There were either in the ship or locked outside. In
That's
the day,
right.
you will either stand up for upholding God's law or side with man's law. Keep God's law equals death. Right now,
and I thought about that. I thought, if you went on the boat and you weren't quite a believer, and then you saw this, and say you did, you went on there with Noah and his family and his sons and his, whatever. They were living. You'd be living, right? And then you'd make your mind up. I mean, what I mean by that is you would be converted, right? I think it would be a converting moment if you went on that boat, and you'd be, a changed person when they landed. Mm. And I mean, here's Ham. He wasn't exactly good. Let's face it. I don't think he was that great.
Well, he got on because Dad told him to get on.
Right.
You obeyed your father back then.
Right. But I guess God needed those people. I mean, maybe he already knew the outcome, obviously, but I just thought, if I was there, would I get on?
Well, he could have destroyed Cain, right?
Yeah.
But why did he let Cain's seed continue?
I don't know.
He could have destroyed Adam. He could, when Adam sinned, he could have destroyed all of these all these perpetuators of these. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ham could have been destroyed in a lot of. I mean, that's. I think. Gonna get myself in trouble here. Isn't that where Nimrod came from the bloodline of Ham? Anyways, it was a bloodline that was obviously had that propensity to sin.
Well, they actually stole the ark, and they got hemorrhoids. Isn't that the same story?
No. You're talking about the Philistines.
They ran off with the ark, and they got.
That was years later.
Oh, was that
Yeah.
year? But I'm just saying, I got to look back into that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I always think it's Nimrod, but it's not, huh?
Mm-mm.
Nimrod's the giants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, let me see here. All right. Right now, the big case is in the court. Rule that a parent can't even read the Bible to their child if the other parent says no.
Oh boy.
Look how soon after the flood Ham's family sinned. The heart was not right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looked upon his father's nakedness, which translated, I've always believed that to be as he looked upon his mother's nakedness, because it says there in Deuteronomy, if you've looked upon your mother when she's naked, you've uncovered your father's nakedness. So that's how I've always translated that, because that was always kind of weird to me. So I don't know. I don't know what happened, but it was bad, and he wasn't supposed to be doing it. To go on the boat, you had to be very publicly make a statement and get on in front of all. No sneaking on board. For an entire week, nothing happened. Their faith was tested, but their probation was closed. You know,
Their probation
well,
was closed.
and we say how easy it was to get on that boat, right? We all say
Yeah.
it. But here's the risk they took. If the flood didn't happen, I mean, it never flooded before. There was no reason why it should have flooded.
Know.
Moses was labeled a madman, and he was saying stuff that the scientists of the day did not jive with. The minds of the day just said, no way, Jose. And so he was ridiculed probably. He was scorned probably. And by getting on that ark, you forfeited everything. Because if there had not been a flood and you had to do the walk of shame back off of that ark, nobody would have hired you. They would have shunned you. You would have been an anathema amongst the people. It was that bad.
Yeah, but most of those people helped him build that.
Well, they were
boat.
probably paid, not most of the people. I mean, there was millions of people on the earth at the time. But there was probably a goodly amount of people. And some of those people died before the flood came, that helped him, I'm sure.
Oh.
There was Methuselah, right?
Yeah.
Now, his name literally means in the day of, or something along those lines. Not Methuselah. Who was the one that died, right? Methuselah, wasn't it?
I think so.
Why are names so... It sounds so muddy in my brain right now. It was probably that pizza I ate.
Uh-huh.
Nimrod was the son of Cush, the son of Ham. Okay, yes. Got it right. Whew, finally. There was no righteous left on earth but Noah's family. So, yeah.
Okay.
So Methuselah,
faith.
I believe Methuselah died right before the flood. So...
Okay.
And as it will be in the last days, there will be people that will be taken prior to the second coming. So the same sort of thing will happen. All right, so let's go. Let's just jump to 6. And I'm gonna try and get through some of this, guys. It's really difficult reading though. Hear ye now what the Lord saith. Arise, contend thou before the mountains, and let the hills hear thy voice. Okay, this is a proclamation, right? That's going out, especially when the language like these. Hear ye, O mountains, the Lord's controversy. You've heard us say the great controversy a lot. And ye strong foundations of the earth, for the Lord hath a controversy with his people, and he will plead with Israel. The controversy is sin. Reformation says Methuselah's name means when he dies, it comes. He died the very year of the flood. Okay, yeah. Okay, good. I got that right. There's 2 in a row. Think about the wickedness these young people were exposed to prior to the flood. These young people may have resented the loss of technology and the loss of family and friends. That's true, because they were pretty much living like the Amish do presently. And I'm sure Moses kind of banned a lot of that technology, because as soon as they got out of the hands, or out of the influence of Moses, they immediately went right back to it. They began to build their high places. They began to do all these things, right? Build their cities. I mean, Nimrod was famous for building cities.
Temples.
Yeah. And so they began to worship their gods, and just like the Incas and the Aztecs. I mean, and I'm watching, I told you guys, I'm watching this, the history of the Incas and the Aztecs. It's just coming in like little short pieces. It's a real long documentary. Might be on TikTok. I'm watching it on Facebook though. But I just find it fascinating. Like, they were a very advanced civilization, but they offered their children up in the high places, just like ancient Babylonians, just like the ancient, probably Assyrians, Israel from time to time would do it. And so many people throughout ancient world, and I think there's pretty much an unbroken line of that child sacrifice from then until present day. And it's funny to me when people scoff at the idea of child sacrifice still taking place. That's hilarious to me. I mean, when I was a kid, we watched the movie Faces of Death that clearly showed like what they do in devil worship. They were consuming what presumably was a ethically procured cadaver body, while they were completely naked. I mean, the same practice that stayed with me for years. That really stained my brain. I wish I'd never had seen that, because I can still see it. Just like I watched it yesterday, I can still see it in my mind's eye. That was really gross. But they do these things, and it's reprehensible. The Lord detests it, and He has to make an end of it, because it gets so ingrained within our society and within people. And of course, we all know about the elite and what they do. But wow. But this message is going to the whole world, and that's the same kind of message that Noah had during the flood, right? He was to give that message to the known world. For 120 years he preached. That was the same message that they were to give right before the coming of Jesus, right? And when John the Baptist would come out, and say, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. He was preaching that message. It was the same message that the disciples gave right after the death of Christ and the resurrection, that they would go out and go forth and preach to all the nations. That's the same message that we carry to this day. But ours is slightly modified for an end time, because ours is now where we pick up the torch of the three angels message, and we begin to preach that. It says to every tribe, nation, tongue, and people, and the angel crying out, woe, woe, woe unto the earth, and to the inhabitants of the earth, Sodom and Gomorrah only happened 451 years after the flood, and the Tower of Babel happened before that. So they went bad real fast, so fast that God had to come down twice and stop them. That's the timelines actually is kind of crazy when you think about it. Like, from the Tower of Babel, that was just a short time after the flood. And it didn't take long, because people lived.
He shortened their lives eating meat. You eat meat, it shortens your life. Didn't he do that?
Yeah, right after the flood.
He shortened their lives from 900 years to 100?
120.
120.
And then later it was 310.
That's right.
We're just getting weaker,
Yeah.
We're getting weaker. All our faculties are fading. I'm 55 years old and can't barely hardly see,
Should I get that methylene blue, Carrie?
Stop it, Lisa. Knock that off. I told her.
Oh, what about the ivermectin?
No, quit.
He gets
I don't
on
want
me about that.
I don't want to go crazy and offend people, but ivermectin and methylene blue. I mean, come on, we've been given the diet to eat in the last days, and I don't remember anything about methylene blue and ivermectin being in there.
We saw this woman. She had this big car battery. She was making this, what was that, colloidal silver.
Oh, my goodness.
She killed her husband.
He turned blue.
He turned
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
He turned blue, he did.
It's not funny. Shouldn't laugh.
He took the medicine.
I mean, he did, though. He turned blue, and he got real stiff and poisoning our food and water Dan Vincent said, "Oh, you're not a whistling Dixie."
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's a buyer beware market out there. There's good food to be had. There is. You got to look for it. You got to pay for it. You got to grow it yourself. You got to filter your water. I mean, we got to tread carefully in this dangerous world we live in. But God's people know better, and we've been given a prophet that told us all these things in the beginning. There was some sort of an event that happened at the time of Peleg that caused life to be shorter. Yeah, well, some believe it was the eating of flesh, and I kind of think it was too, because flesh was given during the ark. I mean, this is not from any command of the Lord that said so, but it's just through deduction on my part. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, oh, wait, there was another comment I missed. They went from 900 plus to 3 generations of 400, then to 230s, and finally down to 120 and 150s in the days of Moses. Okay, so it was a gradual thing. Okay, so, and that's good to note too.
Because evil would just get eviler.
Well, look, their diets were perverted. We know that because of the way they were living in Egypt.
Well, and
Right.
in a lot of these places, in these palaces, they'd eat and then they'd throw up and then they would eat again.
Oh, that was Rome, big time.
It was terrible. Gluttony.
Yeah, they would have these big feasts and do that sort of stuff. That was at the Tower of Babel. Some of the traditions say that there may have also been an actual split of the land geologically, which would have created lots of dust particles. Okay, so you guys are thinking of some natural event that would have compromised the overall health of people and degenerated our DNA. Now, it could have also been just because of constant inbreeding, because it wasn't until Moses came into the scene that God had commanded them not to marry their sisters anymore. Because, and I know that sounds gross to a lot of people, but there's really nothing in the Bible prior to that forbids it.
We met a woman that came to the Hispanic church in Bozeman. She just couldn't get over that, the incest part.
Well,
she didn't want no part of any religion at all.
That's...
And then the other guy was thinking the world was flat. He was into Darwinism. He was a German guy. I mean, I'm just thinking, what is going on? I feel like I'm kind of in a Twilight Zone here. I asked them, what do they think about the Bible? And they just went.
Right. Dan Vincent says chemicals in the water. Only way to get water clean is to distill it. Okay. My dad was big into distilled water.
Yeah, he was.
And he treated himself terribly when he was younger, up until he was in his late 50s and into his 60s, before he actually kind of cleaned up his diet, and he still lived to be almost 80 years old. So, I mean, it's never too late. It's never too late to clean that diet up. But he would drink a lot of distilled water, and so yeah, we miss our dads, my wife and I both.
I heard my dad in a dream. My mom's name is Blanche, and he was had a accent when he would say her name, and I heard it as clear as day. Made me cry. Yeah,
he had a very specific way of saying Blanche, and yeah, I can still hear it in my head too. But yeah, that's sad. When my uncle calls me, I can hear some of the tenor of my dad's voice and my uncle's voice. And
yeah, isn't death? It's unnatural.
It is. It's unnatural. It's not meant to be. And so here's some interesting comments here. He allowed meat eating because of less food. Yes. That was.
That's why they came on clean.
Yep.
And more clean than unclean on the boat.
Yes, that's exactly correct. That was one of the allures of the valley of the cities of the plain. They say it was watered like the garden of God, and after Sodom and Gomorrah burned, the water was turned to salt. There was another. God had cursed the water.
I wonder if that's where we get our pink salt. No, I'm just kidding. Himalayan salt and pink salt.
Yeah, Lisa. I mean, more than likely. Himalayan is obviously from the Himalayas. Right. Yeah. but don't they get a lot of salt from the Dead Sea?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have the
So,
Dead Sea
so we're
salt.
drinking those salty bodies of the. No, never mind.
Oh, gross.
All right. So, if meat was drained of blood properly, it has very little flavor and sustains life without the loss of health. Okay. Well, and that's something none of us do, right? The flesh is always eaten with the blood. You know, you can cook a steak. I mean, her and I used to eat lots of meat, you know. You cook the steak and the blood just comes right up to the top. I mean, it's not eaten like the Bible. Nobody eats it like the Bible says to eat it.
No, with bitter herbs and drained of all blood.
Well, the bitter herbs part was the Passover ceremonial thing. I think that was, and they were to eat it in haste. There was some
fast.
Yeah, they were to gobble it up as fast as they could, and that was typology, you know. Okay, so when we all come from two original people, as scientifically proven through mitochondrial Eve and Y chromosome Adam, where do they think people found their spouses? Well, there's a theory out there, and I don't like that theory at all. But they say there was Eve, and then there was, who was that other one? You guys know. The other woman that came along. There was supposedly another woman that Adam had children with.
What?
And those were the seed of the evil people.
What?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's out there. And I hate that doctrine, and that's for them to get around the incest part, whatever. I mean, look, Adam, Eve was made from Adam.
Yeah.
Right? That was essentially his sister. Mm-hmm. She shared all the same.
Not his sister. That would have been part of his body.
It was his own body. It was because he called it flesh of my flesh and bones of my bones.
Well, she was made from his bones, his ribs.
So why is it so strange that the brothers and the sisters would marry? You know, it was commanded later on because of the pollution of the blood that they shouldn't marry anymore. And God in his wisdom did that.
Well, people think more perverted these nowadays because it is sick. But they're thinking brother, sister, you know.
Yeah, why go across the street when you go across the hallway?
It is so wrong and stuff like that, and I understand. But the point is the blood is really tainted now than it was back then.
Reformation, Lilith, yes. Good old Reformation there. Lilith, that's the name.
Lilith, huh?
Lilith is said to be the first wife who sinned. Eve was the second, who was the mother of all.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
I never heard that.
Yeah. Don't ever name your daughters Lilith. I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters.
Said this woman named her son Satan
or Lucifer.
Lucifer.
Excuse me. Yeah.
So that kind of scared him.
Well, Lucifer is actually a beautiful name, the light bearer.
Light bearer.
It's not a bad name at all. We put too much importance on minor things.
But names mean something.
Well, yes, of course.
Well, my dad hated the name Levi. He said it was a Jewish name. So
yeah.
But yeah.
I loved it.
I put Patrick in there, you notice, really quick, because that's my dad's middle name. He did not like that name.
Yes, Reformation, again, it reiterates, but science tells us that all women originate from the same original woman and all men came from the one original man. Japanese did a DNA test, and now their test showed that the genealogy of man was about 10,000 years old. I remember reading the article, which is way closer than a lot of other people have gotten with it. But it's more like it's 6,000 as we know it. But 10,000 is close enough for what they're working with. I mean, DNA is not, they could tighten the science up a little bit on it, but it does. It shows that we have a common mother and a common father. We all came from it, and that was one of the things the Japanese test also showed. So that was a test that the evolutionists really hated at that time, and it's been buried.
I'm on that heritage, my heritage,
mm-hmm.
and I'm related to all kinds of people. It'll say my dad is from Europe, so it says were related to the whites, the Loves, and so on and so forth. And I'm just thinking, wow.
It spreads out.
And then my other relatives are natives, and then they married into Hispanics, and it goes on like a pinball machine. And then pretty soon I have 4,000 so far, 900 people I'm related to. Families, white, brown, yellow, every color.
Yeah, exactly.
When I was at the hot springs, there's a lot of natives that come in there, and they have the piercing blue eyes. They're French Canadian natives, and anyhow, they're ashamed of their blue eyes, and they'll say, "Oh, you married him? Well, you can't be married to him. That doesn't hold up. Only natives can marry natives."
Silly.
Where did that come from?
Silliness. Just silliness.
Yeah.
These two original humans had all the genetic possibilities. Their children would have had innumerable gene combinations, and the siblings were further apart genetically than future generations.
Wow.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
it would have to be,
It
right?
would have to be, yes.
And that's true with all of the animals. I put my email up there. You probably see it by now, Monique. But that's true with all animals.
Yes.
Now, the cat came from one common cat.
Yeah.
All of the species, and Walter Wyeth kind of opened my mind up to some of this. And I mean, he studied these things, so he would know. The elephant, same thing, The rhino, same thing.
What about it?
One of the brothers of the rhino, or not the rhino, but the rhino was probably cousins to the Triceratops.
Oh, okay.
So all of these animals had common ancestors.
Okay.
The wolf, of course. But a wolf can make a chihuahua, but a chihuahua can't make a wolf. Because a chihuahua is a refined...
Degenerative.
Not necessarily even degenerative. It's just a refined, more specific branch off of the DNA.
Oh, I see.
And so the wolf contains everything that a chihuahua has, but chihuahua doesn't contain all of the information that a wolf have, if that makes sense. Our DNA could never revert back to that of the nobility of Adam and Eve, our mother and our father, but they had all of the information from every being that's ever lived on down the line. So you're welcome, Monique. It's called genetic bottlenecking, and it's quite interesting. It also explains physical traits that we see in populations today. Yes,
Yeah.
And that is interesting. And here's something to kind of ponder on too. When we mix the different, because I think that's what God had intended us to do, was to mix our DNA, not to just stay in a gene pool, because then the generations become weaker quicker, I believe. Because our kids are really tall, but
Right.
but our genealogy is also separated by by some distance. I mean, not much, with the light of everything that we know. But I mean, genetically speaking, if our children are stronger because we have diversity in our genetics.
Yes.
And that would probably hold true with anybody marrying a different, they're not even different races. We're all the same race.
Speaking of that, up here we have a lot of Dutch, and the Dutch marry the Dutch. There's Dutch communities, and they like the blonde hair and the blue eyes, and that's what they marry, and they only marry that, and they only marry the Dutch. Well, their pool of people got so inbred that they literally had to get different people in to be with the wives and the kids. I just heard that is really something else. How they had to get a different DNA in on the pool. It's kind of crazy, but it's true, and that happened in Montana. And my sister actually saw some remnants. But yeah, there's definitely that happening.
The flood particularly caused genetic bottlenecking, as the men were all related, whereas the women were not sisters.
Oh,
Yeah, because they were sons of
yeah,
Noah,
yeah.
and the women were all from different bloodlines.
Right,
And
because they
so,
were wives.
and that explains again probably the different races. I'm sure people have said Ham, Shem, and Japheth was basically the fathers of the Caucasian, which includes Asian in there, right? That's Asian and Caucasian. They're closely related. The Afro, and what was the third one? Well, I guess it would be Asian, Caucasian, Asian, and Afro. I probably screwed that up. Anyways, all the races are basically related to those three, right? And it's traceable.
Yeah.
So, and they were brothers. When you look in Exodus 25, it says, unto the third and fourth generation. When you look at genetics, within 3 to 4 generations, you can lose all genetic diversity. You can completely change the way your family looks in
Wow.
3 or 4 generations. Do you remember the integration when the natives would capture the white children
Mm-hmm.
and they would integrate them into their tribe? They would scarcely recognize them
Mm-hmm.
when they would discover these women or these boys.
Mm-hmm.
They looked just like the natives, they said. And now that's interesting. Now that's not even one, and that person didn't change his DNA at all.
No.
But why did his appearance seem to change? Just by the way they were living.
The way they were living, what they were eating.
Their exposure to the sun, maybe, the way they grew their hair, of course,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, the peas. We have that. I'm trying to think of the name. It's a pea. It's a big old giant where people bring in their pea plants and the flowers and the different colors. What's it called here again? It's a huge pea festival.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember the name of it though. But anyways, my mom used to have these the giant Sweet Williams, and the Sweet Williams, she brought him up there when she was like 18 or 19, and all these years and years later, the red would be with the white, and the white would be with the red and yellow, and pretty soon it started being unrecognizable flowers. They were just so different. You couldn't see one that was the same. Remember that?
Yeah.
I'd pick these huge bouquets of flowers.
There was most beautiful flowers I've ever laid my eyes
Fragrant.
on. And they just, like you said, the diversity in those flowers, none two had the same color combination.
No.
There was purple, red, and white, and there was pink and blue and green, and there's every color of the rainbow.
Just nothing like you see at Home Depot or Lowe's or nothing like that, because these were original seeds, and they're almost, well, she's 80, so 70 years of those all over the hillsides. Just I don't know. It just
I'll never forget those flowers.
I know. I really love those. I have some seeds. So.
Do you really?
Mm-hmm.
Incredible, man! You're good at saving seeds. Okay, the races are not based on sons and wives, but on the geographic location of settlement. If you have a population that has dominant or recessive traits, it doesn't take long to change the look. The further you move from the central camp origin point, the more the physical traits will be visible and become the central characteristics of that population. Yeah, I think that's provable science right there. I mean, that's observable, right? Mm-hmm. And so that would fall into the category of a law because it's observable, provable, and repeatable. And I just wonder if we scrambled them all up. This is my brain at work. If we scrambled all the races up, all the human races up, and then like shuffled the deck of cards, if you will, and then scattered them back around the worlds, I wonder if the different regions would
change their color,
come out to
eyes.
the same color that they are now.
Yeah, I always thought that the Africans in Africa were dark skinned and dark eyes because of the heat.
They didn't need the melanin.
No, and then the colder regions, their eyes were light. Their skin was light.
I said melanin. I meant vitamin D. They didn't need as much. They had, the melanin. They produced lots of melanin because to block the sun. Yeah, yeah. And I wonder if that would do the same thing if we shuffled the deck and then threw them all out in their different regions again.
Yeah, as I remember your brother being in the cold region up there in Alaska.
Yeah.
And he was always so freckly, and then when he came back, he was just ivory white. His
no freckles. Yeah, they were all gone. He was different in appearance.
Yeah, and then you were full of freckles. And I remember everyone saying you looked like way older than him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which now you look younger or as the same age. And you don't have the freckles like you once had.
Yeah.
So it's just because you're up here, and with less sun. Yeah.
Yeah. The closest to the original tone will be those who live in a region where Noah's Ark landed. That would be around Turkey. The language too, I think, matches over there.
Oh.
The Turkish people are dark, and but I've always thought. Stop it, Lisa. It's making fun of me. All right, let's move on. We've stayed on that subject long enough. All right, so anyways, so let's just go to the final chapter here. Micah 7. Woe is me, for I am as when they have gathered the summer fruits, as the grapelinings of the vintage. There is no cluster to eat. My soul desireth the first ripe fruit. Okay. The good man is perished out of the earth, and there is none upright among men. I think this is prophetic, end time prophetic here. They all lie in wait for blood. They hunt every man his brother with a net. Okay. It doesn't mean blood brother, but it could mean, Adam means red.
Huh.
Yeah. David too was ruddy.
Was ruddy. That's right.
Yeah. He was red. So there might, I don't know if that was the dark bronze red of the Native Americans, or if that was more like my color.
Huh.
But yeah, Adam certainly was probably bronze.
Yeah, bronze from his body.
Yeah, he was probably a real reddish, not red like me, like fair skin. He probably had like a deep tone or something. Like
Turkish.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, but redder than that. Maybe a color we don't even recognize today.
Yeah.
Maybe something that's just completely foreign to us.
We have a red clay up there in the high Sierras. Maybe it was like a clay like that. Like real red.
It very well could have just been just like that, just like the color of the earth that God built them from. And so, I mean, that would be something, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, there was probably different. I mean, we have a few colors that are present on the earth. What about before the flood? I wonder how many diversities there were then. They might add green people. We don't know. There's those blue people in the Appalachia.
That's true.
They are literally blue. And
it's not from colloidal silver.
It's not from colloidal silver. They are straight up literally blue. And it's this genetic thing that they have. Look it up, guys. Google it. It is the craziest thing. And I just saw this recently. David was probably red-haired. The statue of Joseph found in Egypt also had red hair. All right. There you go, Lisa.
I guess I'm
Aren't you
supposed
lucky?
to be happy about this.
Yeah. It's so funny. I mean, you get teased so bad in school when you're red-haired. You really do.
Or what about in the 70s? Doesn't it mean luck? Rub a redhead's head.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody rubbed my head like that, but I don't know. That was a Andy Griffith thing. All right, so that they may do evil with both hands earnestly. The prince asketh, and the judge asketh for a reward. So they're being bribed, right? Okay, we see this. And the great man, he uttereth his mischievous desire. So they wrap it up. And in other words, he wants something, right? He wants something evil and mischievous. So they give it to him, right? And the best of them is as a briar. We all know how hated briars are. The most upright is sharper than a thorn hedge. The day of thy watchman and thy visitation cometh. Now shall be their perplexity. And this is the perplexity of the nations, what it talks about there. The second coming will be a perplexity. It will stifle the wise, and it will bring down the haughtiness of the proud. God made Adam out of what? What color is clay? Yeah, that's what that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking he was red like the earth.
Red.
Like literally just red. And Bible says red. We're trying to relate it to a known color skin. It probably literally was just red. And what color was Eve? She might have been something else.
One time I had some chickens outside, and one was just eating and pecking everything off the top of the plants, the end of the plants and stuff. And remember that saying, green eggs and ham? Mm-hmm. It was a green yolk. It was seriously green. I did taste it, but it just was very strange. But they said that if a chicken is really healthy and eating good stuff, his eggs will be green.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Oh.
Well,
I only had one green egg.
Fact is,
and no ham.
Fact is, yeah, no ham.
I did try this stuff though. I know I've been hearing a lot of people making bacon out of the organic peelings from a banana. But there is a wonderful, wonderful mushroom. It's like it comes in like a natural box. It's real thin. It's bacon, but it's not bacon. But it tastes like bacon. It does. And what it is mushrooms. Oh, it was so good.
It was actually really good.
Yeah. I stuffed a bunch of mushrooms. Oh, very good.
That sweet, savory taste that everybody loves about bacon.
Really, really good. Yeah.
Crunchy. Crunchy, kind of half chewy.
Too. Yeah.
Had the texture, had everything.
You could do a BLT with that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I would eat it. I was a little sketched at first when I was watching it cook. But it totally cooked down, and it was nice looking.
Crispy and really good.
It really was. And I presumably, maybe they put a bunch of chemicals in it. I don't know.
No, because I read the ingredients. It is literally a mushroom.
They have truffles out there that taste, and I've witnessed this firsthand. I worked for a company. And the last place I worked for, while I was doing fire sprinklers still, I worked for this. We were installing fire sprinklers for this company that grew truffles. Mm-hmm. And they have truffles that taste like chocolate cake. I mean, they told me
got some that are for coffee.
Stick your nose in there. And I was like, it smelled like the most beautiful chocolate cake. And then, here, smell this one, grape soda. I'm like, what? Truffles that taste like and smell like grapes? I'm like, you're out of your mind. And then I just went down the line, and they all had different names on. How they come up with that, I have no idea.
Wow.
But somehow or another, they introduce something into the truffle, and it duplicates it.
Huh.
And it duplicates it in the most beautiful way. I mean, when
I was a little
God's
girl,
wonders are yet to be discovered.
I was a brat, and I'd chase all the squirrels around, and I would chuck stuff at them. And this one dropped a truffle, and it was black. And I took it to my dad. He actually ate it.
What did he say it tastes like?
I don't know. He sauteed everything in garlic and butter.
So it probably tasted like garlic and butter.
It probably did.
Yeah, your dad was something.
But anyways, yeah. But one day he ate morels after he drank beer, and he was on the ground. It poisoned you. Yeah, it poisons you when you eat alcohol and morels.
Her dad was a character. He had a pet rattlesnake that the girls would play with. He pulled its teeth out, and he didn't realize the teeth grow back.
Yeah.
And that pet rattlesnake was like the girl's little buddy until he picked it up one day and it turned around and bit him in the hand. And,
no, you got the story wrong.
Oh, did I? Okay, go ahead, tell it.
So my sister closed the door on its poor tail, and of course, its mouth open, and my dad saw its teeth.
Oh, wow.
Then, he didn't kill it. He just let it go.
Well, but then didn't your dad get bitten?
There's these huge boulders at the river, just big, giant, humongous boulders. And for some reason, he was down there, and he saw a head poking out, and he knew it was a snake. And he reached down and grabbed it, and it coiled around his arm, and it bit him. It was a rattlesnake.
Yeah. They drank a bunch of milk and laid on the floor all night.
It took him a week. But yeah, in some cultures, you drink milk, and lots of milk, and it helps your body to, and
Yeah.
it has to be fresh milk.
It's probably
It can't be
probably the phosphorus.
homogenized. Yeah, it can't be nothing from the store. You have to have it fresh. And there's
Interesting.
something in the grass-fed cows that cured it.
Probably phosphorus.
Probably.
Yeah, probably is. Probably totally is. All right, so here we go. It says, the best of them is as a briar, the most upright is sharper than a thorned hedge. These are wicked men. The day of thy watchmen on the visitation cometh. Now shall be their perplexity. Trust ye not in a friend. Put ye not confidence in a guide. Keep the doors of thy mouth from her that lieth in thy bosom. For the son dishonoreth the father. We're seeing that now. The daughter riseth up against her mother. The daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies are the men of his own house. Therefore I will look unto the Lord. I will wait for the God of my salvation. My God will hear me. This is the condition of the world that we're living in now, folks.
Oh, definitely.
1,000%. And, all right. So rejoice not against me, O mine enemy, when I fall. I shall arise. When I sit in darkness, the Lord shall be a light unto me. This here is a comforting verse, because what it's telling us is in the day of our trial, in our day of our tribulation, don't rejoice, because I'm not going to be down for long. The Lord's going to return me and set me upright again. That's what it's saying. It's a promise that, during my time of trouble, the time of Jacob's trouble. This is how I read it, folks. It literally is saying that we'll be lifted up again and we'll see our salvation. I will bear the indignation of the Lord, because I have sinned against him. Until he plead my cause and execute judgment for me, he will bring me forth to the light, and I shall behold his righteousness. This is the thing that all Christians go through. It's that, that trial, that fight between our flesh and the victory of God's final salvation. Then she is, did I miss something? Then, verse 10, then she that is mine enemy shall see it. Interesting that it calls it a she. She's a symbol for the church. Then she that is my enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her, which said unto me, where is the Lord thy God? In other words, there will be two forms of Christianity in the last day, right? The one church will say to the other, we have God, you don't have God. Look at you. You sit afflicted and tormented. How is it that you say that you have God? Just like they did Job, right? They were telling Job the same thing. And when it says, and shame shall cover her, which said unto me, and because she's eventually going to be laid bare and naked, right? All her sins are going to be uncovered. Which said unto me, where is thy Lord? Mine eye shall behold her. Now shall she be trodden down as the mire of the streets. In the day that thy walls are to be built, in that day shall the decree be far removed. In that day also he shall come even to thee from Assyria, and from the fortified cities, and from the fortress even to the river, and from the sea to the sea, and from the mountain to the mountain. All eyes shall be upon him, as the lightning shines or flashes in from the east and shines also into the west. So also shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Notwithstanding, thy land shall be desolate because of them that dwell therein, for the fruit of their doings. Feed thy people with thy rod, the flock of thine heritage, which dwell solitarily in the wood, in the midst of Carmel. Let them feed in Bashan and Gilead, as in the days of old. That might be a prophecy of God's promise to feed us in the last days as well. Am I reading too much into this, folks? Please stop me. Micah 7:11. In that day shall the decree be far removed. A decree is also known as a drum roll. Please, law. I wonder what law is being mentioned. One associated with the sea to the sea nation. With a sea to sea nation. Yeah. I think I see where you're going there. I'll wait for your the rest of that. This is really getting good. According to, and yeah, you know, going into the woods, right, into the mountains, into Carmel. You know, Carmel was a mountain, the Mount of Carmel.
Mm-hmm.
Going into the mountains, and he's feeding us there. According to the days of thy coming out of the land of Egypt will I show unto him marvelous things. Okay, so there's also a reference to Egypt and coming out of Egypt. The nation shall see and be confounded at all their might. They shall lay their hand upon their mouth, their ears shall be deaf. They shall lick the dust like a serpent, okay, because their portion is with the serpent. And they shall move out of their holes like worms of the earth. They shall be afraid of the Lord our God and shall fear because of these. Remember how they shall hide themselves in the dens and the rocks say upon them, say upon the rocks, come and fall upon us. Hide us from the face of him that sitteth upon the clouds. Lisa?
So as Carrie's reading this,
Yes.
I'm looking at the Fugent family in Kentucky whose skin had a blue tint due to a rare hereditary blood disorder called methemoglobinemia. This genetic trait was passed down through generations due to the isolation of inbreeding of the close-knit Appalachian community, starting with an ancestor called Martin Fugate, who settled there in 1820. The blue color was caused by the excess of blue tint deoxygenated blood in their system, which a doctor eventually treated with methylene blue.
Quit.
That's what it said.
Oh, stop it. That's
With
such
a medication called methylene blue.
That is such hogwash. I'm going to call you out on that one. You're such
Right here.
I don't want to see it. I can't see it. I don't want to see it.
I'm going to send it to you.
There's a backstory with the methylene blue story with her. Okay, see also Zephaniah 2:2. Before the decree bring forth, before the day passes the chaff, before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you, before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you. All this links back to Revelation 13:17 and 14:9, which is the Sunday law, all foretold in the Old Testament. They shall lick the dust like a serpent. They shall move out of their holes like worms of the earth. They shall be afraid of the Lord our God and shall fear because of thee. But these are worms. These aren't God's people, right? The fear of the Lord came to God's people prior to his coming. The fear of the Lord came to the wicked upon his coming. They didn't fear him until then. It was too late. Who is a God like unto thee that pardoneth iniquity and passeth by the transgression of the remnant of his heritage? He retaineth not his anger forever because he delighteth in mercy. He will turn again. He will have compassion upon us. He will subdue our iniquities. And, that's a good one. He will subdue our iniquities. He will subdue our lawlessness. He will bring it into subjection. Okay? And thou wilt cast all their sins into the depths of the sea. Thou wilt perform the truth to Jacob and the mercy to Abraham, which thou hast sworn unto the fathers from the days of old. And that's salvation right there, folks. And that's really good news, isn't it?
It's the gospel.
Well, we're at an hour and 24 minutes right here, guys. So we're going to sign off, and we just want to wish you guys a great rest of your week, and that God may richly bless you abundantly. And, like the old man from Arkansas says, stay close to Jesus. Greatest advice ever, right? The prophets are all warning us of the coming decree that will try to consume the remnant. And so that's right. And so we have to prepare. Let's say a quick prayer, and I'm going to sign off. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this great study. These words that have been given to us so many years ago that are relevant to us today, Father, we just thank you for that, because you were, from time of old, declaring the things that would come to pass in the future. And this, Lord, that you know the past, present, and the future, this makes you worthy of our worship. and the fact that you purchased us with your blood and you promise us the resurrection on that day when you come again. It is just so fills our heart with hope, Lord, and we just pray that we will all be there. And with your might and your power, we know we can, but let's all submit to you in your heavenly name. Amen. Okay, next week's study. Let's what's your recommendation, guys? Do you guys want to continue on with the minor prophets? Because I'm kind of liking them.
I like Jude.
Yeah, let's
Because I know that's when it talks about that angel. It talked about an angel in there.
We might talk about Jude. Sure. Also, Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve fall on Bible study night, we will be doing those days. Oh, wait a minute. Will we be doing those days?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I don't think we don't really keep Christmas that much. I mean, we have a little bit of a dinner. I don't think we were talking about whether or not to even get a tree this year.
We're not going to get one.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get one.
It's a murder of a tree.
Yeah, they're scarce around here. They're plentiful up northwestern Montana. We'll have a tree every day. Still won't get rid of them all. But yeah, let's go to one of the minor prophets. I don't know which one yet. Maybe Jude. Maybe I like Malachi. Malachi is a good one. Jonah is a good one. There's a lot of really good ones. Obadiah, Zephaniah, Zechariah, you name it.
We'll let them pick.
I really like them. So, all right, folks. Well, have a good night, and we'll see you guys.
Good night.
We'll see you guys this Friday.